and welcome to this morning's standing committee meetings. We're going to start with Invest GP, and first of all, I'll tell you who's on this committee. It is myself, Councillor Bressie, Councillor Plott, and Mayor Clayton. And I will start with the land acknowledgement. The city respectfully acknowledges the Beaver, Cree, Dene, and Métis people as the original caretakers of these lands and surrounding areas. We are grateful to live, learn, work, and play on Treaty 8 territory within Turtle Island and acknowledge these lands have been home to diverse and sovereign First Nations and Inuit nations since time immemorial. And we're going to go immediately into an in-camera, so I would ask for a motion to go in camera. Councillor Plott.
I'd move that we go into camera.
And I'll call a question. And that carries. get reorganized for the rest of the InvestGP meeting. Thank you. Five point one, service area reports, and ask Chief McEachern to bring us up to speed.
Thank you, Chair. Under economic development, the rural renewal stream, we've had 462 candidates now endorsed, with an additional 27 in the queue. That's 608 employer applications received to date, including 34 in the queue for review. 255 positions are advertised as available right now. Between October 4th and October 4th and October 13th, we've had 16 new business license issued. 7 of those were home-based and 9 were commercial. InvestGP, the Mayor and City Council were pleased to participate in Small Business Week. We were able to connect with over 60 small businesses in Grande Prairie, as well as attend events such as the Women in Business Lunch and the Chamber Awards of Distinction evening. Promotional video was also released as part of the 2023 Small Business Week. InvestGP attended the Economic Developers of Alberta Ministry dinner to hear more about what's happening at the federal and provincial government level impacting economic development in communities. And InvestGP and the Public and Productive Services Department are working together on expression of interest for leasing space at the Dave Barr Community Centre during the summer. After the review process, childcare service provider is being chosen as the successful candidate, and negotiations for the lease are currently underway. Daycare facility will provide up to 70 additional childcare spaces, with an expected opening in early 2024. In collaboration with Alberta Health Services, our team worked with the Mayor and Council to organize 3 physician recruitment tours during the past week. And our Economic Advisory Committee met on October 17th, and planning is underway for the 2024 Grow in the North Conference. Watch for early bird registration, which will be opening up shortly. In investment attraction, we have now hired our consultant to work on the investment attraction plan and pitch book, and we've had our initial meetings with the consultant, and that work is starting. And events and entertainment, the Storm hosted a hockey hooky on Friday, October 20th, with 1,600 students attending the game. thanks to a sponsorship from Control Tech. And the Storm is now leading the league in attendance. The team had the largest attendance in the league on opening weekend. The Peace Country Invitational PBR from Bennett's Energy Center, which I mentioned in a previous service area update, will be premiering on TSN on October 25th, so tomorrow. The show is scheduled to run in 6 time slots on TSN with additional reruns throughout the year. And with that, I can take any questions.
I look for a committee. I see no hands up in the room. So thank you very much for your report, Chief McEachern. And I think we'll move on to the next item, which is a telecommunication tower. And again, I would ask you to introduce that for us. And Chief Glavin's going to take that.
Thank you, Chair Blackmore. So the city has received an application for a telecommunications tower on the CKC site that the city owns. Administration is recommending approval, and I will turn it over to Ms. Tennant to present.
Your light's on.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair and Committee. We have received a request for a letter of attestation for a telecommunication tower on the CKC site. It is recommended that the committee direct administration to provide the letter of support or attestation for this tower. The proposed location is on the CKC site. It is a 30-meter shrouded monopole tower. It is proposed to be located just north of the existing tower. The applicant has worked with the city land management officer as well as the city engineering department to come up with the most suitable location for this proposed tower. This is an image of what the tower is proposed to look like. This property is owned by the city of Grande Prairie, so support of this request for the letter will provide approval from the city as the landowner to locate the tower on this property. The applicant would lease the location from the city of Grande Prairie. If there are any questions, we do have the applicant with Evolved Surface Solutions is online via Zoom if anyone has any questions for them. Thank you.
I'd look for the committee. I see no hands up. Councillor Resty, was your hand up?
Yeah, sorry, Mayor, or sorry, Chair Blackmore. I'm just more curious about a process question. So I see the recommendation is just for committee to support this. So usually letters of concurrence are just authorized by committee. They don't go to council.
That is correct. Through the chair, sorry. Yeah, we get approval from the committee that I am to issue the letter of attestation on behalf of the city.
Great, and I get that process for usual letters of attestation where they're on land we don't own. I'm just wondering process-wise if this is also authorization to lease city land, if it should go to council for the lease portion of it, not necessarily for the letter of attestation part.
Through the chair. In the past, we've taken committee's support for the letter of attestation as a signal that it's also permission from the city to use the land. So we have one other example, this is just that one on the CKC site where that's what we did. We just came to committee and the support for letter of attestation was interpreted as a green light for entering into the lease.
I guess I'll just look at my colleagues. I mean, I get to vote today, so it doesn't really matter to me, but just seems that maybe all of council should get to weigh in when we're talking about city land being used. But just thought if others don't have a concern, then I'm fine with it. Like I said, I get to vote today.
I have a couple people in the queue. First, Councillor Thiessen, and then Councillor O'Toole.
Thank you very much, Chair Blackmore. I have actually a few concerns. One of my questions is this actually the best spot, or is it just because we put a tower there in 2020?
Through the chair, the applicant suggests the location. The applicant suggests the location to us, and then they work with the land manager to come up with the specific spot that meets our needs and their needs the best.
Okay, I guess my biggest concern is lately we've been going through this trend of setting up cell phone towers around sports fields. Now we're going to add a second cell phone tower to one of our main sports fields that's utilized by 2 of the high schools. My concern is around electromagnetic hypersensitivity, which is experienced by 3 to 5% of people around the world reportedly. And my concern is when you have high intense sports, especially cardio sports such as soccer, football being played around that field, one of the symptoms of EHS is cardiac arrhythmia and changes to blood pressure, among other things. So I guess my question is really around the saturation level. At what point do we stop putting cell phone towers around these fields? And if we accept this and something does go wrong, let's say a young football player goes into cardiac arrhythmia and they can show that it was from electromagnetic hypersensitivity, who bears the liability for that? Is it the telecommunications company, or would it be the city who's leasing the land?
Through the chair, with respect to the question about liability, I don't think we're able to answer that. Perhaps Mr. Freeman may be able to, but I don't think that we can answer that.
Mr. Freeman, do you want to take your best shot?
Thank you, through the chair. I mean, probably be a fact-specific analysis. We'd have to look at the clauses in the contract and have to give specific advice in a closed setting in regards to liability. It would be hard to determine in advance, but as with any agreement, we would want to ensure the appropriate provisions are in there to protect the city in the event of undue liability.
Okay. I know that you said there was someone online, but I don't see anyone there. So if you are online and want to comment, if you could turn your camera on, that would be helpful.
Good morning.
Do you want to answer that question from Councillor Thiessen, please, if you can?
Yeah, I can speak to it. The person that we usually have available for these meetings, our municipal specialist, is away on vacation, so I'm stepping in. I do know that the notification that was sent out to the city and to landowners within 100 meters of the tower, there is a blanket in there, clause number 7, Health Canada Safety Code 6. We have to comply by those measures, and I can tell you that the tower structure is within those Safety Code 6 limits. There's combined effects, the additional carrier co-locations and nearby installations for local radio environment. We have to comply with those limits for everybody's health concerns. So it's covered in the notification. As to the comment on knowing beforehand, there's no way to find that out or dictate that. And with regard to the location as to where it is, we are provided with a search map to best give the coverage objectives and demands that Rogers requires. The location that we did find, we have to find a viable landowner. So we go around the search map and contact and exhaust all options. We did make contact with the city of Grande Prairie, knowing that there was an existing TELUS tower to the south, and that's how we came up with this location. So we don't go looking to place towers near sports fields. This one just happens to be a case where we were able to find a suitable location with the landlord.
And my apologies, I should have asked you to introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
Yeah, I'm Cam Dyer, Project Manager for Evolved Surface Strategies in Airdrie, and I manage the projects for a few different carriers within our office. I work with Anthony Novello, who submitted the application and is our municipal specialist. He is unfortunately away on much needed and scheduled vacation. So if there's any discrepancies or any other additional information that I can't answer today, he's certainly available for follow-up on Monday next week.
Thank you. Councillor O'Toole and then Mayor Clayton.
Yeah, thank you for being here today and doing your presentation, or at least answering some questions. Is the current tower that's there now, is it full to capacity? And my question is, if it isn't, why couldn't we use that one and put the cell phone stuff on there, or the antennas or whatever?
Of what Rogers needs, the height requirement and the loading requirement for their own equipment, there's no available space for Rogers. If somebody else were to come along, we have to exhaust the co-location opportunities. I said we'll dictate that we need to do that. So we've done that with TELUS. There's no opportunity. We send out an invitation for them asking if there is available space on a tower. They've come back saying there's no space available. So we submit that to ISED as part of our historical information with our application to the city of Grande Prairie. And yeah, that's why we're putting a new structure up. We exhaust those colo opportunities full force before we do so.
Thank you for that answer. Mayor Clayton?
Thanks for that. Councillor Bressie asked a question. I haven't heard anybody in the queue with concerns of this being dealt with at committee. I think we have some historical reference that points committee the authority to make these decisions. In my opinion, in regards to reduction of red tape and supporting community needs, as we hear on a regular basis, of the inappropriate and lack of cell phone service in certain areas of our community, I'm prepared to make the motion to support this as in the package. Thanks.
And then I'd ask you to go ahead and make the motion.
As stated in the package, that's the motion.
That motion is in order. Councillor Bressie, did you have a comment on the motion?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I don't think I can support the motion. I respect the red tape idea, but I don't think a week holds it up. I've heard concerns from at least one colleague. Personally, I do support this. I think we should be going ahead with this. But I think when we're talking about city land getting leased, I think that's a council decision, not a committee decision. If this was a site on land the city doesn't own, absolutely I'd be supporting today. I think that's well within the authority of committee, but I personally don't think leasing city land should be within a committee's discretion, even if it's a relatively small parcel.
Mayor Clayton, did you want to speak to the motion to follow up, or are you good?
I'll see if there's no one else. I don't need to close. I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I'll call a question.
Bressie opposed.
Plot in favor.
That motion does carry, so that concludes that matter. Moving on, the only other thing left on the agenda is the outstanding items list, so I would ask Chief McEachern to provide us with any information we need for that.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to defer this one to Chief Glavin as well.
Chief Glavin?
Apologies, I just got to get the window to come up here. So with respect to item 1293, Mission Heights change of use, I did present verbally at the last council meeting that we would not need to convert the land from environmental reserve to municipal reserve, and that we can continue on with the use of that area as a public park and still be in compliance with the MGA to mow that grass. So I would request that we remove that from the outstanding items list.
And that's the only change, Chief Glavin?
That's correct.
I would ask for a motion to approve as amended. Councillor Bressie?
Thank
Call
you.
a question.
Bressie in favor.
Plot in favor.
And that motion does carry. With that, we are adjourned, and we will take a 5-minute break before we move on to the next standing committee meeting.